Hey guys, RetroTago here, back with another video and back with a new series I'm calling Modern Art. This one has to do with current titles where the art and coloring have just absolutely kind of blown me away. Uh, One of the things that attracts me to this medium is definitely the artwork. I hear a lot about stories and things like that, but it's always been the artwork first and foremost that attracts me to a certain character and a certain title. And given that over the years, I've seen some really good art and some really, really, in my opinion, bad art. And with getting caught up with a lot of the more modern titles, I've seen just this kind of explosion of great artwork and especially coloring. And so I kind of wanted to highlight that. I don't see a lot of that going on online, especially on YouTube. And so I really want that to be kind of a focus for my channel moving forward, given that I am involved with art and art history as well as design. It's always kind of been one of my goals for these like impressions videos that I've been doing, but I tend to focus more on the story and kind of flipping through while pointing out certain panels. Whereas this, they're more current titles that you can still find on the store shelves. And so going through the story would really be a lot spoilerific, I guess. So I kind of want to stay away from that and just kind of focus on the artwork, even though now that I say it out loud, it would be spoilerific for me to even flip through this book, but you get my point. So anyway, Batman 101. I don't read Batman until right now, and a large part of this was flipping through it and the artwork and the coloring inside of it. So I saw a review of this online couple days ago, and while I was in the comic shop, I flipped through it, and seeing the artwork and the coloring really sold me on it. So briefly, I don't read Batman, like I said, but this story where it picks up in here really intrigues me. He's basically lost all of his money, and he has to find a new way to do the things that he does on basically kind of a shoestring budget for for Batman. So I found it to be really compelling. The story is really compelling, and whereas a lot of new comics, I find the jumping on point can be really confusing. This actually is a really good jumping on point for me. There's a lot of stuff that happened in the past, but they don't dwell on it. They don't necessarily point out specifics where I'm just utterly confused as to what's going on. It's really understandable. It's really apparent, like what is happening from this point forward. So therefore, yeah, I'm kind of on this title now, and definitely if the artwork keeps up, that'll definitely make me a reader of Batman. I've kind of been having this explosion of new modern titles, so my my pull list is getting longer and longer. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Batman 101, From the Ashes of the Joker War, A New Day. So the artwork is by, and I'm gonna butcher this, I'm sorry, Gilliam March, Gilliam March, and Tomio Moret. Again, I'm so sorry. If you guys ever watch this video, I love your stuff, but I'm really sorry I butchered your names. So anyway, from the very beginning, I love this presentation of Gotham. I love it from, the streets up into the sky, and I love the framing of it, and the coloring is on point. It's what I would expect to see for Gotham. And one of the things that I loved about this book was the next page and the splash of color as Batman goes through his sort of history briefly and explains why things can't be the way that they used to be. This choice for Batman to be in his blue cape and cowl was, to me, it hit my eyes in just the right way, as contrasting to the nightlife of Gotham City below. Like this was, I love these explosions of color. I pointed it out in my last video. Like this is what sells me on a book. just these really vibrant colors. And I don't know if it's the sign of the times, new printing methods that we didn't get, 10, 15 years ago or even longer ago. But I really enjoy these like huge pops of color. And so progressing on, the thing that really sold me on this book is this battle with Grifter, and most notably these highlights. They're fighting on a cloudy day in the rain, and yet we see these pops of colors outlining the rain hitting them as they're fighting. And this is what, as I was flipping through it and deciding whether or not to buy this issue, this is what sold me on it. These splashes of like really vibrant colors. And as soon as I flipped through this, I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up." And so yeah, these again, like what I'm looking for in sort of the modern titles is legibility first and foremost. This one's a little quote unquote dirtier than what we saw with Clayton Henry in his Batman Superman issue in the previous video, but it's still really legible. I really love the panel structure. I really love the energy that is going through this fight sequence with Grifter until we eventually see the click where he kind of has them dead to rights. But yes, even when we continue on to the next page, you see the reflections in his glasses, and yeah, just this color choice to infuse this. He could have used something like yellow or something to mimic the street lights that we saw earlier on in the issue, down below and things like that. But this inclusion of his highlights in this rainy weather really did, as I was flipping through it, like sold me on this book. So yeah, again, really great artwork. If I had to criticize anything from my perspective, is that March tends to use a lot of line work, I guess, in his faces. Yeah. And there are a couple parts to Batman. Let me see. Like this in particular, which is really just kind of a nitpick. I kind of think his chest is a little too large here. But otherwise, yes, see, we have different colors separating the different panels here. Again, great coloring choice. And I absolutely loved reading this issue. I've actually read this issue 3 times so far. And yeah, that's Superman. That's Batman 101. Again, great selling points for me. Sorry, as I flip through this again. This fight sequence, again, with the rain highlights on the edges is what really sold it for me, as well as this sort of first interior 2-page splash right here, and Batman's old blue cape and cowl. So anyway, guys, I'm going to refine this process a little bit more, get some more thoughts together, but I really wanted to get this first issue out of the way. Like I said, I don't really read Batman at all, but because of the artwork and because of especially the coloring, this is another series that I'm really interested in continue reading. And I think that's something that's a little bit unspoken these days. Again, we hear so much about writers moving from book to book and what they're doing with the characters, that it really is the art and really specifically the coloring that kind of gets pushed to the wayside. So point of this is for me to kind of ramble on about these comics that I really enjoy and kind of point out why I'm interested in this book and why I want to continue reading it. And honestly, like most of these have been books that I really love, but I'd really like to do books that kind of fell flat for me as well. I think it's good to see, for me, what kind of threw me off the book and what didn't make sense to me as I look through these things. Completely constructive criticism. I'm not intending to like dog artists or colorists or anything like that, but I just want to kind of point out the criticisms that I have, both good and bad, with certain issues. And this, from this page on, this book had it. This book had it all for me, especially in the coloring again. So anyway, guys, that's first sort of episode of Modern Art, Batman 101. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.